Oh, they were right. Hello, welcome back. I wasn't sure you'd be waking up so soon. Oh, hey, it's okay. Please try to calm down. I'll explain everything to you once you settle down, okay? I did suspect that trauma from the incident may have led to some blackouts in your memory. Not to worry, I'll get the details on how much you recall later. For now, let me try put your mind at ease. I'll tell you the facts of your situation. Please, if you would, don't struggle too much. You're currently hooked up to an IV and a heart monitor as you have a history of being uncooperative. My colleagues and I decided it would be best if you were restrained to the bed, purely for the safety of our staff and of yourself, of course. Please try not to worry about the monitors. I can assure you that they're the latest in technology. I hear they're trying to roll these things out to every major hospital in the country now. I see. You don't even know where you are. Well, you're currently being detained at the Gartlock Insane Asylum in the Mental Health and Recovery Wing. The year is 1952, and the date is the 14th of July. I'm Nurse Ivy Breyer. And do you need me to remind you of your name and age? Good to see there's still a bit of memory left in there. Now look, we can discuss all the circumstances of your admission here when we're in your private room in the patient living quarters. I must say, I never did like coming into these crowded intensive care rooms. It reminds me too much of the days I'd rather forget. During the war. Do excuse me. It's been a long day. Anyway, as I was saying, you will shortly be transported to your room. The asylum has been dreadfully full as of late. You're lucky your family is donating so much money. Otherwise, well, let's just say your situation could be quite different. Oh, well, I'm afraid to say that you'll be staying with us for quite a while still. We are only part way through your treatment after all. Oh, come now. Have you not been paying attention? I told you, we shouldn't discuss such things here. Information is a threatening thing in a place such as this. And you, my friend, have already got quite the reputation. My apologies. It was not my intention to rile you up. One must have a laugh at a place like this. Sometimes I think perhaps I'm just as mad as anyone else in here. Coming in day and night, begging broken minds to be fixed. Michael, you've come. This is Michael, one of our new hire orderlies. We're going to undo your restraints and sit you down in a wheelchair. If you don't resist, then there shouldn't be any need to tie you down to the chair. Can I get verbal recognition that you agree to not resist our help? Delightful. Michael, if you will. How much do you think that you can move? The head doctor, Dr. Victor Bolton, wanted you to stay here in the urgent care ward for a fortnight longer, but your family insisted you be placed back in your private room. If I may say so, you're incredibly lucky to have such an interested family. Many of our residents, they just get dumped here. Poor soldiers with shell shock. Women so anxious they pull their hair out all day long. Just left here. Dusted under the rug. Someone else's problem now. But not you. At least you'll have solace in that. Well now, I suppose I should remind you of all the ins and outs of good old Gardlock Asylum. If you'll follow me, Michael. This is the main hallway for this wing of the institution. We're currently in the West Wing. Its primary use is for general disorders and urgent care. To the north, we have the wing holding the criminally insane or particularly violent patients. Not to worry though, we have a top-notch security guards here. Dr. Bolton makes all who work in that wing take meticulous documentation of all the patients. Oh, well, you're not there because, well, for now, I'll just say that you're not usually as reactive as you were. It's only when particularly stimulated that you get violent. Anyway, in the East Wing is the Tuberculosis Treatment Centre. Unfortunately, I don't have much to say in regard to that. It's rather separated from what goes on over here in the asylum area. Though I barely see anyone come in or out of the place since the new medical breakthrough some years back. Between me and you, I heard that it's still being used by Mr. Bolton. God only knows what that creepy man is. Forgive me, I forgot myself. Now then, to your right, just in there, is the room in which patients have group therapy sessions. Oh, it was quite a pleasant thing. I used to host it on Mondays, and we'd all gather round and have a nice cup of tea and talk about our feelings. I always say a good cup of tea goes quite a long way for me when I get a tad upset. Well, I thought... well, I just thought it would be something nice. Well, let's just say that old Mad Molly Millard didn't seem to agree. She threw her tea at one of the nurses and scolded her badly. I feel guilty about it to this day. Nevertheless, we do get cookies now instead, and only if everyone's taking their medication. It's really nothing you should worry about. We have upped the drug prescription here considerably. Patients are a lot easier to handle now than they were 10 years ago. They have all sorts of magical chemicals. Marianne, my friend who assists the chemist, was telling me all about them. Before, I just knew them as the red pill or the big blue pill, but now I know some names. Opioids and morphine for relaxing a patient, mercury for mania, or even barbiturates. They put a patient into a soft and dreamy sleep and help drive away madness. Oh, and what was that other one she was talking about? Chloral hydrate? Oh, I'm not sure. I suppose you wouldn't know much about this either, would you, Michael? Being a newbie and all. Not much of a talker, it seems. I do apologise. Perhaps I'm talking a bit too much. It's just... well, before the incident, you always seemed a bit sharper than the rest. Smarter. You still grasped compassion and interests. Perhaps that's why she chose you. Well, what I'm trying to say is... well, I thought of you as a friend. I thought you may even remember me. But I do beg my pardon. How unprofessional of me. It's perfectly natural you wouldn't remember a lowly nurse such as myself. Well, to your left is the rec room. We have a small old TV, a chess, pencils, paper. Oh, we even have a record player now. At the end of this main hall is where you'll get the medication from the chemist, and just to your right is Dr. Bolton's office. Though he doesn't seem to spend much time there. He's far more occupied doing whatever he does in the East Wing. The nurses use it as a sort of meeting room to discuss treatment plans. And then, down this hallway is the male inpatient rooms. Most share a room with at least one other, but your room shall be private. Though, I can't say you'll get too much privacy. A nurse will come in on the hour to check your room, and well, it can get rather loud sometimes at night time. Oh, do be more careful pushing that thing, Michael. Terribly sorry, Richard.
What the bloody hell is he doing back here? Surely he can't be putting him back in that room.
I'm afraid so, Richard. We simply have no other room free. I know it may seem a tad odd considering what happened, but we're so tight for...
And do you know about this? Huh? Do you know where she's shoving you? God, you shouldn't even be in this godforsaken asylum, let alone in the same room with that crazy bitch.
Richard! That is quite enough. Have you not been practicing your anger management methods? Do I need to have a talk about increasing your electroconvulsive therapy with Dr. Bolton?
No, miss. I was only trying to warn the poor fellow. Look, just watch out for that girl. Come with the scar across her eye. Watch out for...
Come along then, Michael. Keep pushing. Richard, we will be having a discussion later about increasing your schizophrenia medication. Do excuse Richard. He can be awfully paranoid sometimes. He was the one who first found you after the incident. This will be your room for the foreseeable future. We have left your stuff in here, but unfortunately had to take out anything that could be used as a weapon, so... Well, let's just say that most of your things have been safely put in storage for now. But I'm sure if there's not another incident, then you'll... Well, I suppose you of all people should know exactly what happened. I will tell you all that our staff know under one condition. Michael, if you will, we're going to need to require that you wear this. Just for a few nights as you get readjusted. We don't know how stable you are. I'm sure you'll understand better after you've heard about the incident. So please, cooperate and let Michael put the straitjacket on you. Truly, we would not insist if it weren't for your own safety and for that of the nurses. Thank you for being so rational, sir. I see, even after all, you're still a smart man. I've always admired that about you. Lovely. Now please, make yourself comfortable. I know these thin mattresses and wire beds aren't the most luxurious, but I'm afraid it's all we have here at Gartlock. To be honest, you're one of the lucky ones. The army took most of our beds to turn into scrap metal for the war effort. Most have stiff wooden boards for beds. Michael, I believe I have it from here. If you wouldn't mind waiting outside? Thank you. Now then, I'm sure you have a lot of questions. Let me try to preemptively answer as many as I can for you. You first arrived here in winter 1950 due to severe depression and mania. I don't know too many details. You never did talk too much in conversational therapy sessions, but from what we gathered, you were a soldier during the war. The way that you got through the difficult times was by following orders. There's a note here saying that at night you would often say the same words over and over again in your sleep. I was just following orders. I was just... It feels almost cruel to remind you of all that used to haunt you. But it is protocol to give patients full honesty about their past. Well, the nurses and I came to a conclusion that your sergeant had died rather suddenly. Left without a leader, you went MIA for 3 weeks and, well, I'm afraid to say that when you came back, you weren't quite the same. You wouldn't pick up a fork if someone wouldn't ask you to. Wouldn't get out of bed if not aroused. It was as though you'd switched to autopilot. In the end, your family brought you here in hopes that we could do something for you. And so we set you up on a course of insulin shock therapy. It's quite the amazing thing. The patient is injected with a high level of insulin which induces convulsions and often leads to a coma. Once left in a coma for several hours, you are shocked back into the waking world. Over multiple doses of this treatment, the brain would rewire back to its natural and normal state. Though it sometimes can lead to amnesia. Well, you see, that explains the amnesia bit of your situation, but, well, I'm afraid to say there's still more to the story. I'm afraid to say that multiple treatments of insulin shock therapy didn't help you too much, but what did seem to help was, well, it was Catherine. You flinched just then. Do you recall her? No? Curious. It's no wonder you had such a reaction, though. Catherine, well, I don't know how you originally met, how you became friends, and then how you became terrified of her. I'm not permitted to discuss her situation with you, but for your sake, I'll say this much. She is obsessive, dangerously so, and not only that, she is manipulative and controlling. Well, I suppose what I'm saying is, it's no wonder you found each other. At first, the nurses hardly seemed to notice anything was going on between the two of you. You were new, and, well, she had been here for so many years, her original files aren't even around anymore. It was only one day when you started screaming, shouting, crying that she's watching you, always watching, that she's going to hurt you. I want to make one thing very clear to you, sir. You were never in any danger. Those thoughts, they were made up. Perhaps in the beginning they could have held some truth. But after Catherine got violent with another patient, she was moved to the north wing of the asylum. You didn't see her for over a year. Yet, every night, you'd spiral, terrified that she was going to get you. She had planted a seed of paranoia in your head, and it consumed you. I was never on the night shifts then, so I can't tell you firsthand what happened on those dark nights of yours. But from what I've heard, she somehow messed with you significantly. Then came the incident. Truthfully, none of us nurses know much. Mr. Bolton personally handled the matter. All we know is what Richard has told us in confidence. But As per his display earlier, I'll go ahead and assume that he'd want you to know what he saw. I'm sorry. Please do tell me if this is all too much. Very well. I'll continue. Richard, well, he considered himself a friend of yours. You had been close before you'd met Catherine. When he heard shouting in the middle of the night, he went to see if you were okay. To see if the matter could be solved without, and I quote, those brutish orderlies or those daft drug-obsessed nurses. Well, he went in and he saw you and Catherine covered in blood. You on top of her, and, well, a sharp piece of metal sticking out of her eye. Excuse me. The odd thing is, Richard described Catherine as never looking happier, and you, perhaps not so oddly, looking, well, for lack of better words, completely bloody insane, to use his words. Well, from that point forward, all I know is that Dr. Bolton was called. You were extremely violent and taken immediately to the treatment room, following which you fell into a coma which lasted these past 6 months. I'm sorry. I know how overwhelming this must feel for you. We were hoping, after your shock treatment, that a prolonged coma would help your mind process all of this, or at least give your brain chemistry time to correct itself, so that perhaps when you woke up you could handle this information. I think that it may be best for you to get some rest now. The last thing we want here at Gartlock is for you to relapse into paranoia. Here, if you would like, I can stay with you for a while. You know, hold your hand or talk to you for a bit. Many inmates here enjoy it when I do this. It quiets all the thoughts in their head. The head nurse always tells me off for doing it. But I'll tell you, people can be so harsh here sometimes. Of course I trust the doctors. If they say a treatment or medicine will make a patient feel better, then I'm on board to help, even if they look in so much pain. I just want to help people. I forget myself again. I do apologize. I'm here to comfort you, not the other way around. You always were such a good listener. Now please, lie back, get comfortable. I'll sit by your bed. I'll stay with you until you fall asleep. How about that? Very well. Now, what should I talk about to soothe your mind? Oh, well, I'm not too sure if telling you any more about the asylum will bring you any comfort. It's not... Well, let's just say it's not the kind of place one has pleasant dreams about. Oh? Well, okay. I suppose that wouldn't hurt. It will be a bit odd telling you about myself. Deep down inside your mind somewhere, you'll already know all these facts. But, well, I suppose we can start again. From the beginning? Well, let's see. I was the firstborn girl of my family. I had an older brother. His name was Benjamin. My family didn't stay small for very long. My mother continued to have another 6 children. Well, another 6 that survived infancy. I practically became a second mother in that house. Always fixing up scraped knees and handing tissues out to snotty noses. My mother was always either heavily pregnant or recovering from the harsh pregnancy. Now that I'm older, well, I think she never wanted so many children. She begrudgingly carried us for 9 months and wouldn't show an ounce of nurture after we were detached. I suppose it's hard to show love for her. Pregnancies, they made her so sick and depressed and tired. God, my father might have not even noticed. He wasn't at home enough to. My father was a coal miner, you see. He'd leave before the sun came up and came home long after it had set. I used to wonder to myself, how in the world did he and my mother ever find any time to be intimate? As soon as my brother had hit 16, my father took him to the mines with him. I miss my brother's company terribly. He was my best friend. The only one I felt like I could really rely on, rather than everybody else who was always relying on me. I spent all day long cleaning up and taking care of my family. I hardly had any time to go out, to learn anything. But my brother, he would always take the time to tell me what he had learned, tell me stories about his day. I was poor, overworked, relied on by everyone around me, and neglected by my parents. And yet it was the happiest time of my life. Those golden days of the past. I suppose they always shine brighter in one's memory. Then, of course, came the dark, inky smudge of war. I'm sorry. I'm not too sure this is an all too pleasant bedtime story. Instead, how about I tell you a bit about my day? Well, I woke up in the nurses' quarters. Someone had taken my clean uniform, so I had to wear a dirty one. The other nurses, they like to play jokes on me from time to time. It's quite funny if you think about it from their perspective. Well, then I did my rounds and had a chat with Mary Ann. Do you recall? The chemist assistant? Yes, she's the only one who tells me anything around here. Well, and then I got the alert that you seemed to be arousing from your coma, and I suppose you know about the rest of the day. What an exciting day it's been. I'm glad you're awake. I was worried about you. And just as I say this, you're starting to drift into sleep. I'll be around to see you again in the morning. Try not to be too alarmed by the check-ins they do throughout the night. You'll get used to it again in no time. I'm telling you, it's really not so bad here. Of course, people can be a little rough, but everyone means well. If you just stick to your treatment plan, yes, and take your medicine along with a good old cup of tea every morning, well, I'm sure you'll be right as rain in no time. I'm sure of it. Well, good night then. Knock, knock. Hello, darling. Hmm? No, of course not. Who the hell is Ivy? Don't tell me I leave you unwatched for one afternoon and you've already gone and fell in love with another woman. Hey now. Calm down, calm down. Don't get your restraints in a twist, my love. Sure, go on, shout as much as you want. Have you forgotten? This is a neglectful shithole of an insane asylum in the middle of the night. Half the damn population of the place is screaming, help! 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 Oh, how I've missed you, my love. Let me get a closer look at you. I'm afraid my eyesight hasn't been as good since they got me wearing this goddamn eye patch. Aww, you remember my name? That's so sweet, darling. And here I thought they rubbed all those little memories out of your pretty mind. Ivy told you? Ivy told you what? Who the hell even is this bitch? Oh, that idiot Nurse Briar. That's who you're talking about. God, so she's the one assigned to you, huh? Figures. Why? Why? God, can't you tell? That girl has cotton wool for brains and talks more than a damn radio host. Has she managed to fill your head with a bunch of lovely nonsense already? Let me guess. She told you about how a nice cup of tea will fix all your problems. And then, if you just get some rest and listen to the doctors, everything will be fine. Don't make me laugh. Have they really dulled your mind so much you can't see what a delusional idiot she is? Don't you know, most of the workers here are half mad themselves. It's the only way they can stand it here, you see. Anyway, enough about other people. I want to know about you. How you feel. What you remember. Real? Of course I'm real. You're not one of those loopy schizophrenics, dear. In fact, me and you, we're the most sane people in this place. Dr. Bolton told me himself. A valid question, but I can't tell you how I got here. Not right now, anyway. Perhaps I'll tell you after I help you get your memories back, my love. You see, they tried to blank it all out, like Tipex. Yeah, tried to erase all that we had together. But don't worry, my love. I'll scratch away at your mind. Scratch away all those white spots until you see things clearly again. See things my way. Like you used to. Of course I'll leave all those pesky bad thoughts you had towards the end. Nice and covered up, though. I don't care how long it takes. Darling, I'll fix you. Oh, I'm sure you have so many questions. Of course you would. And I don't mind explaining everything to you. But not tonight. Tonight, it's our glorious reunion. Months of cuddling with a limp body, looking into your dead eyes. Your drool getting in the way whenever we would kiss. Whispering into your ear oh so careful not to let anyone else hear. It was a lot harder to get in to see you. And oh, for so little reward. But I did it, my darling. Not every night, but at least once or twice a week. For 6 months. I'd crawl on into your bed, caress your comatose body, feel you close to me once more. But now you're awake. You're awake and oh so perfectly wrapped up for me. Oh, like the best birthday present ever imaginable. Last time we were here in this room, let's not dwell on it. You stabbed me in the eye and I made sure all your memories go white. How? Why? That's all you've been asking, my dear. Well, let me give you a simple answer to all your questions. Because I love you. And because I can. Oh, it feels nice to be cuddling up to you again. Wiggle around all you like. I'm just happy you can move around again. Darling, can't you see? I had to break you down so that I could build you up again. Before you lost your connection to me. You forgot our mission. God, I tried everything. I tried getting you this nice room, gifting you anything that you'd want, making sure you had the best possible care. And yet you just sit there, slumped over, looking out a window, as if I didn't even exist to you anymore, as if our plan meant nothing to you. But it's okay. We can start again. And we will start again. As many times as it takes, my dear. I can see it's already working. The way you're struggling against my embrace. The confusion in your eyes. The determination. I can see it in you again. The need to understand. You know it really does turn me on when you get like this, sweetie. Shit. Time's running out. Darling, look at me. I understand you. Better than anyone here. Better than yourself. Those nurses, they don't know shit, okay? I'm the one holding the key to all of the things you've lost. And I'll give it to you. I will. You just have to behave. Be my good boy and everything will turn out amazingly. And I'll know. I'll know if you step out of line. I'll know what questions you ask, who you talk to, where you are, what your mood is, what you eat. I'll know everything. I'll be watching. I'll always be there in your mind, even if you try to push me out, even if you try to forget. Your heart remembers. It remembers that primal fear we felt on that night together. This place, it has many layers, you know. And let me tell you one thing. Me? I'm right at the top. Okay, Michael. I'm ready. Take me back to my room. Goodbye, my love. Until we meet again. Knock knock. Hello, my darling. How are you doing on this wonderful night? I've been looking forward to cuddling up with my love all day. I'm sorry I couldn't visit you last night. I had some things to attend to. Now scooch over. Let me snuggle up with you in bed. Oh, they still have you restrained? Oh, what a treat. Have you been being naughty? You dummy. Don't you know if you tell people I come to see you, they're gonna think you're crazy again? I guess you did go through quite the ordeal, so no wonder you're acting a bit stupid. Don't worry, cutie. I'm sure that big old brain of yours will come to its senses soon. Maybe you don't remember the last time we met, so I'll remind you, sweetie. I have eyes and ears all over this place. Have the people here report directly back to me about your activity. I know you had bread and coffee for breakfast, and I know they replaced your old socks that had holes in them with nice high quality ones, courtesy of yours truly, of course. I know that just before I came in, a nurse gave you some medicine to make you drowsy and calm. I know right now it might sound all a bit controlling, but trust me, I'm looking out for you. I'm doing everything I can to make you as comfortable and as happy as possible. You're gonna hurt my feelings if you say stuff like that, you know. Like, I know right now I may seem a bit weird, but that's only because you've forgotten everything we've been through together. All our late night talks about the world, about our future, about our plans. Please, just try and think of this from my point of view. Can't you see how much I love you? God, you were so great when you first came here. Sure, you were hurt. All the things you told me you went through. All the stories you told me while I held you in my arms. God, does it just all mean nothing now? I'm trying my best to stick to the plan, baby. Just like we talked about, but things have gotten so messy now. All I want to do is cuddle into you and forget about all this messed up stuff that's happened. You're so nice and warm. Nights can be so cold and lonely in this place. What? Oh, come on now. I I told you to use that brain of yours, not spit out idiotic nonsense. No, I did not have Nurse Briar kidnapped and murdered, and also she wouldn't be able to attend to you. I can't believe these past few days you've been thinking about her instead of me. Don't tell me you're actually worried about her, after only meeting her once. God, here I am being vulnerable for a moment, and your mind is on her? Well, for your information, darling, Nurse Ivy Briar is sick, so she's not been able to work for the past few days. Probably for the best. I should try pull some strings to get a new nurse to attend to you. What do you think? No? God. What did she say to you to make you so obsessed with her, huh? Oh. She told you about her family, did she? What story did she come up with this time? God, that lady's a loony. I'd laugh at her if her story wasn't so fucked up. Oh, come on. Don't look at me like that. I told you last time, didn't I? She had cotton ball for brains and yapped like a little puppy. God, that half the people working here are as crazy as the patients. Don't you remember? So go on. Tell me what she told you. It seems she's pushing the boat out a bit with this story. She must have liked you quite a bit, to make it pretty truthful. Of course she missed out the most important details. Don't you feel a bit funny about what she told you? Like, it was just a bit off. You know deep down what really happened already. Maybe she got shy. Next time you see her, which I will allow, just to mess with her, ask her to tell you what Benjamin did to their family. Ask her about carnations. Look, I know she's pretty and kind, but she's also a liar. A ditzy, stupid liar that messes everything up and makes up fantasies to cope with it. God, half the nurses bullied her relentlessly, and she thinks that they're actually her friends playing jokes. You're smarter than this, love. And I hate that I even need to say this, she isn't right for you. I am. Me. God, maybe they fried your brain too much after all. Can you see how hard this is on me? I know you told me that this would be difficult, that I'd have to stay strong and see things through to the end, but God, I didn't expect you to get the hots for Nurse Ditzy Ivy Briar. Look, she's a nice enough lady, okay? But you need to trust me when I tell you that you can't believe what she says. If we just follow the plan, then I don't know if it's the right time to tell you. I don't know if you'll actually believe me about the plan. What if I tell you and you go tell Nurse Briar? What if you don't remember how much we love each other? What if after all this... this is so frustrating. I need you to trust me again. Okay, hey, I guess you don't really know anything about me anymore, right? My story, who I am. So maybe we can start there. Okay. My name is Catherine Bolton. I was wondering if you had figured that out by yourself, but from the look on your face, it seems not. That's right. My brother is Dr. Bolton, the head doctor of Gartlock Asylum. There you are, cutie. I've just handed you back the first puzzle piece. I'm sure things are all making a bit more sense now. When I was little, very little, my parents knew something was wrong with me. That I was broken. I would scream and shout at dinner parties, race out onto the track at derby horse races, become obsessed with things. Not very becoming of a young lady of the House of Bolton, shall we say. They threw me into Gartlock when it was predominantly a tuberculosis hospital, hoping that they could pass me off as being physically sick rather than mentally sick. My brother is blood. He's my family, but he's also a messed up man in his own right. I don't suspect you would have met him again since your memory's been gone. So I'll tell you. He's always been interested in the mind. Perhaps having a crazy sister has influenced him. When the war broke out, the coward that he is took the opportunity to delve into medical research. He became a doctor of the brain and started at Gartlock. Predominantly because my family had donated so much money to the hospital since they wanted to keep me being here under wraps. As well as to make sure I was well treated, of course. All that to say, he had a pretty big in, as well as a decent position due to our family's generous donation of a third North Wing installation. I don't know exactly what he does now. I know when he takes on a new special patient and takes them into the unused TB wing that they aren't normally seen again after that. Cured, he says, and well, he has all the paperwork to prove it. But I'm not sure he has everyone convinced. Certainly not me. It's not like I can complain. Since he became the head of this place, my access to things has opened up vastly. It meant nothing to me at the time, however. What use was all this? What use was making friends and trying to be normal and get better? It's like all the life had been sucked out of me. I had no control over my life. Sure, I could mess with people a bit, but it's not like I'd ever be let out. I know before I said I was on top. Well, I'm not exactly. My brother is. And, well, he lets me have my way more often than not. He will never let me out. Never. My family would not allow me that shame. As far as the world knows, I'm as good as dead. That's why they have me here under a fake name. At least they send me all the money and comforts I could want. That's the silver lining in all this, I suppose. Look, I'm sorry if I come off a bit obsessive, a bit controlling, but you're the only one that keeps me going. You won't remember, so I'll tell you about the first time we ever met. We first met in solitary confinement. Our padded rooms were right next to each other. I'd been in there for, gosh, I don't know how long. A week? Definitely multiple days. This was my last warning, they told me. I sort of maybe pulled a little prank. Some people got hurt, and well, they said if I ever hurt anyone again that they would ship me off to the criminal ward. God, I was so childish back then. I was so stupid and bored out of my brain that I would resort to hurting others for my own entertainment or out of jealousy. Well, anyway, I was screaming and shouting, as I often did back then, shrieking into the white void I'd become so accustomed to. Well, then I heard you. You told me to stop making such a racket and to quieten down. Oh, I was pretty shocked, honestly. I thought you were a new doctor at first, so I was confused as to why you were calling from the next room. And, well, I guess we got talking after that. You told me that they were putting you in there for a day or two because you'd not been taking your pills. You told me they made you dull, and that you only took the one that made your memories more misty. To be completely honest, you kind of bored me at first. Oh, I'd never been one for talk therapy. I thought I had nothing to even talk about since I'd spent most of my life in here. As far as I was concerned, I'd barely had any life at all. I didn't know much about what was going on out there. Of course I knew that there was a war. I knew it was people killing people, but I didn't comprehend it. I saw the wounded soldiers come here, and I read newspaper titles, but as far as I was concerned, it was happening somewhere far, far away. It couldn't touch me, and so I didn't care. Well, that was until you started telling me about it. About the history of it all, the facts, the harrowing stories, and the dreadful losses. You talked and talked. God, I don't think I've ever heard you talk so much since. And for once in my life, I sat and listened. I took it all in and I thought. You got out the next day, but I didn't start screaming again. I just sat there thinking. In a way, I was seeing the world for the first time. Everything had changed to me, and when they let me out eventually, the first thing I did was come and find you. How could I not? You'd been on my mind constantly for days. And when I saw you, I knew that you were an angel. You'd come here to save me, and I loved you with all of my heart. You told me once that you thought the same. I don't know if it was true. This time around, I probably appeared more like a demon than an angel. Darling, I hope this made you trust me a bit more. I don't know when the plan stops. I don't know how to do it, but I'm gonna figure it out. I promise. I can't tell you about the plan. Not yet. It would ruin the plan, I guess. How about if you ask Nurse Briar, ask her about the carnations, and you see that she's lying, and you you finally trust me, then I'll tell you. I'll tell you about our plan. Okay. I've been here as long as I can. I'm sorry you have to go through this, my love. But I promise, it'll all be okay. I'm gonna get us out of here. Good night, my love. Good morning! Wakey wakey, eggs and bakey. Time for a lovely new day. Sorry I haven't been here the past few days. I came down with this dreadful sickness. I wonder if someone slipped something funny into my drink. Oh, enough about me though. How are you feeling today? Oh, someone looks a bit down. I bet it's because you have those restraints on. Here, let me help you take them off. Seriously, some nurses have no sense of kindness sometimes. It must be just awful to sleep on one of those. There you are. Feel better? Why are you looking at me like that? Did I do something wrong? Well, I brought your medication. Maybe that'll make you feel a bit better. I know standing in that long line just after you've woken up isn't the best, so I talked to Marianne and I managed to... What did you just say? My brother. Oh, yes, he's doing well. Anyway, so I was thinking today that we could... Who told you? Who told you such filthy lies about carnations and my brother? Is this another prank? Very funny. It is the truth. Did you remember the story then? Are your memories coming back? No? Then why? Who told you? What a cruel thing to do. It would be one thing if they just outright told you the truth, but forcing me to tell you myself is a whole other level of harsh. Well then, I suppose if I'm to keep your trust at all, I must tell you the truth. A truth only a select number of people know. For the most part, what I told you was true. I actually didn't lie very much at all. I just omitted some things. Well, here we go then. It was true I had a big family. I took care of my siblings all by myself, but my parents, they would do terrible things to me and my siblings. I don't wish to go into detail, but they treated us as parasites, as burdens, as well as something to knock around. As soon as any of us turned working age, we were thrust into whatever job would take us. Except me, of course. I was their live-in nanny, cook, cleaner and housekeeper. My brother Benjamin got the worst of it though. He was beaten relentlessly, tormented by my parents every waking moment. But but he was always so kind, so nice and loving. He would have done anything for me. Well, one day he snapped, and he took an axe and... Please don't make me say it. I was the only one left. I was the only one left to go to his trial. And I was the only one left to look him in the eyes as he was killed as well. No, there's no need to be sorry. I didn't want to tell you this all so soon after your recovery. It's too much. It must be so hard for you to listen to this. I didn't want to tell you such a sad story. I would have told you one day. I'm sorry my hand has been forced like this, that you thought I was a liar. I hope you trust me again. Just a little bit. The carnations. Well, every evening after I finish up for the day, I walk into the town and buy a bunch of carnations and lay them on the graves of my family members. I suppose others would know this because of the poem pinned to my bedside wall. Oh, of course I'll tell it to you. It's engraved upon my heart. I remember it word for word. Oh dear, you were my salvation, and so I lay a single carnation. Upon thy grave there lies a flower, so soft and gentle, like a sweet spring shower. My mother Mary cries for thee, her tears are fresh pink and petally. I beg her please, in the land above, watch over those whom I do love. A white carnation for innocence lost, a red one for mine love that will not exhaust. My brothers and sisters, I'll join you soon, in a bright and flower-filled room. Upon that time, I'll no longer cry. I'll be lying under the carnations, right there by your side. Sorry, this poem makes me so emotional. I'm sorry you have to see me like this. I'm supposed to be a pillar of strength and healing, and yet half our interactions have been me venting my problems to you. Please, I ask this as your friend. Tell me who told you about this. Catherine, but she's... Darling, she hasn't been sneaking into your room. Gosh, maybe I shouldn't have told you about it before. You're clearly paranoid again. Catherine is far away and securely locked up. I assure you, you have nothing to worry about. You know what? They're probably your past memories of her resurfacing as night terrors. It's all in your head, dear. I know that they can seem so real, but think about it. Does it really make sense that Catherine sneaks into your room and and knows about everything that goes on in this place? Come on now, don't you think that that's a bit contrived? I can assure you, if Catherine and Mr. Bolton were related, we would have some record of it. Catherine's surname is Lorraine. She was born an orphan in France and was sent over here for mental health treatment at a young age. Don't you see what's happening? You're making things up in your head so that your story can make sense. Yes, she would feel real. You have an extraordinary overreactive imagination. But it's simply not real. It's not. I'm sorry that you've been paranoid these past days. I should have been here to talk you down. You're safe here, okay? Now, I really must get going and finish my rounds. I'm glad some of your memories have been resurfacing. That's a really good sign that you're remembering details like my past. Now, take these pills. They're going to help you calm down a bit, and I'll come back soon to check on you. Thank you for hearing me out about my family. I'm glad we regained our trust we used to have. See you soon then. Bye. Hello, dear. How are you doing this drizzly morning? Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. You look so much more well rested than you did just after your coma. You'd think it'd be the other way around, huh? Here, I brought your medication again. Oh, and if you're feeling adventurous, I went and collected some herb from the hospital garden to make some tea with. I brought you some if you'd like to try it. Great. Here you are then. There. Do you mind if I sit down? I was hoping we could have a little chat about your progress and future plans for your treatment. A few weeks ago, you told me that Catherine was coming into your room at night and telling you all sorts of things. Am I correct? But now we know. Yes, exactly. She is a manifestation of your past memories coming back to you. And yes, she isn't really there. No, the doctors have discussed it, and we all thought it would be best to suppress those memories. I know that might sound counterproductive. However, we have all seen you before the coma. Paranoia sunk you like the Titanic. Fine one moment, but as soon as the water gets in, you sink head first. Look, sweetie, since listening to my advice, you've gotten so much better, right? Taking your medicine, exercising, ignoring all those useless bad thoughts. Don't you just feel so much better? Is that so? That is a bit odd. I would have thought that the manifestation of Catherine would have slowly become less and less realistic. Not to worry though. You said she was coming less and less nights than before, correct? See, that's excellent progress. I know it can all seem so confusing. You really are doing such an amazing job at all this. When the doctor said rewiring your brain by pumping it full of electricity was the best way to help you, admittedly, I was skeptical. I even had a meeting to try and convince them not to do it. It had been planned for quite a while. I thought I was getting through to them, but then... well, then you had to go and stab Catherine's eye out. You shouldn't feel guilty about that, by the way. She snuck into your room at her own risk. She had been warned you were very violent around her. You're sick. It's not your fault. And if she followed the rules, then neither of you would have had to go unhurt. All that to say, I'm glad the electrotherapy worked. I should have just trusted Dr. Bolton for the beginning when he said that losing some of your memories would do you good. I mean, look at you. Sure, you sleep a lot, but that's just your body taking a little extra time to recover. I'm really, really proud of you. You've gotten so much better. Before, you used to hardly talk, hardly do anything, but now you seem like a whole new person. It makes me so happy to see this progress. It really is as simple as following the doctor's orders. In fact, I talked to the doctors and they said that they would allow you to go on a day trip tomorrow. With me if the rest of the day goes well. Oh, how lovely that would be. You probably don't remember the town, but it's quite a nice place. I thought we could take a picnic together to celebrate your progress. Only if that interests you, of course. Really? You'd really want that? Oh, I'm so happy. It's been so long since I've had a nice day out with a friend. With anyone. Maybe... if you'd be interested, maybe it could be like a date? I'm sorry. I'm being so unprofessional. I really shouldn't be asking a patient to spend their well-behaviour day out as a date. I'm sorry, just forget I said anything. Really? You'd actually like that? Oh, that's spectacular. Oh, I'm so happy. Tonight I'll go to the shop and I'll buy some nice bread and cheese and fruits and... oh... well... I might have missed out one tiny detail. Well, you'll only get this privilege if you attend a meeting with Catherine today. Look, hear me out. We think it would be best for you to confront her. You can ask her once and for all if she's been sneaking into your room, if she remembers any of the conversations that you've supposedly been having. Then, if you hold it together, the doctor has agreed that you are truly on the right path, that you're getting better, and that you can have a day off tomorrow, with your nurse as a companion. I know it will be hard, but Catherine has said she wants to apologise and to put this all behind her. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say this, but Catherine has been doing a lot better recently. While you were in a coma, she was acting up, screaming and shouting. I don't think she was very happy about having to be put in the North Wing. But since you woke up and, well, now that she knows you're okay, she's been a lot calmer. She's been painting a lot. Some rather, how should I put this, gothic paintings and lewd paintings, but she's found a healthy way to cope with her emotions. That's what's important. Just like you have by talking to me. You're both on the right track to recovery, and it's all thanks to Gutlock. You know what? You've even been making my life better by exiting your coma. It's like I have a friend in this place again. I wake up excited to help people. I used to feel like this place was the worst. Like I'd just wake up and a string of bad things would happen to me, and then I'd go to sleep. But now, seeing you get better and better, it's really given me hope. So thank you. I hope if you get out, no, when you get out, I hope that we can still be friends. Though, it wouldn't surprise me if you forgot all about your time here. Forget about me. Everything must still seem so cloudy in your head. When you can finally see things clear again, and when the storm's past, you won't want to think about now, about this place and about me and all the troubles you've had. You're young and handsome and smart. You'll probably run off and have an amazing life, far away from all this, away from all the pain. You're so lucky to have that chance. Sometimes I think I'd like to have all my memories erased too. To be a blank slate. To go around not knowing I have scars. Not knowing how bloody and dark the past is. You should be thankful you have this chance. Don't try to remember. Don't try to get revenge or be sad. You've been reborn as a brand new person. Don't let the past hold you down, okay? You have a bright future. I can see it. Thanks. I hope that's true. One thing is for sure. I won't forget about you either. You know, I really don't think it'll be too long until they let you out of here. They've even allowed you to not have a guard all the time too. It's an excellent sign. I reckon if everything goes well today and tomorrow, it'll only be a matter of weeks until you can go home and start that brand new amazing life we were talking about. I'll tell you what, if you do get out, I'll come and visit you every week. We can have tea and you can tell me all about your amazing life you're living. How does that sound? I know it's hard to imagine. When you've been stuck at a place like this for so long, it's hard to remember what normal is like. But I think it's important to stay positive, to hold on to that hope. Do you want to know a secret? It's a little bit weird, so don't judge me too much, okay? Well, sometimes when I go to buy carnations in the evening, I look into people's windows. Not in a creepy way. I'll just linger around for a little bit and just look in. See their nice little house. Their children running around and laughing. The wife kissing her husband as he comes home. Them all eating dinner together, all sitting together and talking. It reminds me of what I once wanted to be. It reminds me that I need to work hard so I can help all these sick people achieve their dreams. Oh, it's silly, just a childhood dream. Well, if you really want to know, I wanted to teach. Oh, I love children. They're so cute and they remind me of my siblings. I wanted to have a nice little house with children laughing, not crying. A husband who'd come home that I would kiss and not slap for having been out drunk again. I just wanted to be normal. Not so much to ask for, right? You'd think it's an easily achieved dream, but it seems impossible for me. Why? Oh, gosh, there's so many reasons. Well, without delving into too much detail, they wouldn't allow me around children. You know how judgy people can be. I'm practically a minor celebrity in the town. They all know what my brother did. I'm just a bad reminder that nice-looking people could have a rotten core. Women hide their children from me. Men cross the street. Teenagers point and talk about me in whispers. I guess you can see why I haven't taken any days off. It does hurt to know what your calling is and not be able to reach it. Even such a simple dream as mine is impossible for me to reach. Maybe when you get out of here, we should just run away together. How does that sound? I have a bunch of money saved up. We could disappear, pick new names and live out our dreams away from all this. Start fresh. You're right. It would be nice. I guess we'll just see how today goes, huh? Well, what do you think? Do you want to give the future a shot? Will you confront Catherine today? Excellent. I know you're ready for this. Now remember, she is manipulative, and you can't trust everything she says. You're strong, you're confident, and you've got this, okay? I believe in you. You can do this. And when it's all over, we can go on our date together. Okay then, shall we go? There's a specially allocated meeting room. I'll describe it to you so it doesn't come as a surprise what's going to happen. So, I'll take you into the room. There'll be 2 separate tables facing each other. Both will have handcuff chains that I will unfortunately have to put you in. I will then ask you a simple sanity questionnaire which you will answer 100% accurately, of course. After that is completed, I'll bring in Catherine, and then I will observe as you have a conversation. If you need to leave, just let me know and I'll take you out immediately. Just so you know, there's absolutely no shame in getting overwhelmed. It would be perfectly normal to have a reaction, and you shouldn't feel bad if you do. And I wouldn't want you to be upset about not going on a picnic. I'll tell you what, I'll come and eat lunch with you tomorrow either way. we can have a slightly less generic mini picnic. So, no pressure, okay? Okay, here we are. After you, dear. Okie dokie. Sit down here then. Right, I'm just going to put you in this restraint. There, that's not too tight, is it? Lovely. Well then, I suppose we should begin with the test. Remember, try to answer truthfully. Now I want you to keep in mind, I want you to answer these questions about how you feel currently or within the past few days, okay? Do familiar surroundings sometimes seem strange, confusing, threatening, or unreal to you? Have you felt that you're not in control of your own ideas or thoughts recently? Do you have strong feelings or beliefs about being unusually gifted or talented in some way? Do you feel that people are watching you or talking about you? Have you had the sense that some person or force is around you, although you can't see anyone? Do you worry at times that something may be wrong with your mind? Have you ever been confused at times, whether something you experienced was real or imaginary? Are your thoughts sometimes so strong that you can almost hear them? Do you find yourself feeling mistrustful or suspicious of people? How often do you feel little interest or pleasure in doing things? Do you have trouble falling or staying asleep or sleeping too much? Do you feel bad about yourself, or that you're a failure, haven't let yourself or your family down? Do you have thoughts that you would be better off dead or hurting yourself? Okay, but that's the test over. It seems we still have some things to work on, but these results are definitely better than they were a month ago. Well, I'd say you're capable of talking coherently with Catherine now. I'm going to go bring her in just now. Do you think you're ready for this? Okay, remember, I believe in you, and I'm proud of you. You're strong. Okay, let's do this then. Good morning, Catherine. How are you doing this morning? Oh, the cold shoulder, is it? I understand. Would you please take a seat at the table here and allow me to restrain you? Excellent. Well, I'm just going to sit here at the side. Please go ahead and talk. Hello, sweetie. Long time no see. You look so worried. Not that I can see the best. You know, since you stabbed out one of my eyes. Nah, it's okay. There's no need to apologize. That's what I'm here to do, remember? It was kinda my fault it all happened, and well, I'm sorry for everything that's happened. Nurse Breyer told me you had something to ask me to aid in your recovery. I'd like to help in any way I can. I owe you that much. What? No, I haven't been sneaking into your room at night. Glad to know you still dream about me, though. I don't know how I'd even go about doing that. Man, they really must have fried up your brain. Look, I don't want to sound rude. I know we had a thing before, but I've moved on. I like someone else now. You should get better and get out of here, okay? Hey, Briar. Go get me some water. I'm thirsty. Oh, I really shouldn't. I'm not supposed to leave you alone. Please, Briar. Oh, well, okay. I'll be back in just a moment. Please behave. Thank you. What do you think, love? Do you think we fooled her? I'm a pretty good actress, aren't I? Nice to see you're finally talking to me again, at least. Ignoring me all those nights wasn't fun at all. I can't believe you thought I was all in your head. Shh. Let me talk. We don't have much time. I know why now. I know why you like her so much. Why you believe her nonsense over how you know deep down this is real. She brings you pills every morning and night, right? Yeah. Well, that's like really illegal and not allowed. She's been adding an extra drug. I forgot the name, but it's a small blue one. My parents gave it to me when I was younger to make me easier to control and manipulate. No wonder you like being around her. She's basically got you addicted to a drug that only she can give you. Yeah, I already know what you're going to say. Why am I not coming out and saying all this? Why am I not accusing her and telling her you're not imagining this? Well, it's simple, baby. The plan. I know it's not ideal timing, but this is the first time you've actually listened to me in weeks. Before I tell you, I need to know, do you trust me? After everything, after the carnations, after being here, right in front of you today, the pills, after all this evidence I've shown you, after everything that she's lied about, do you trust me? Excellent. Okay, the plan is, I'm back. Here's your water, Catherine. I hope there wasn't too much trouble while I wasn't here. Oh, you'd like a glass of water too? Well, you really should have said that before. I suppose everything seems fine here. Okay, I'll be back in just a second. This lady. I don't think I could even stand her ditziness even if I was on drugs. Nice thinking though. You've bought us another minute or so. Okay, well, let's make this quick then. The plan that we came up with together. You came to me one day, depressed as always, your demons haunting you. I tried to calm you down, hug, kiss you, but it was clear that no amount of kisses or hugs were ever going to make you happy, were never going to take away all the things weighing on you. You said to me that you need to forget everything. Then you could be okay again. Well, I suggested the shock treatment, and that was it. That was our solution. You would get the shock treatment until you forgot all about the bad parts. And then, when you were okay and sane again, then they would let you out. You'd be free and you'd tell the world about this rotten place, about how my parents have trapped me here. Everyone would know, and then you'd get me out of this dump. And then we'd travel the world together. experience all the life we had missed all these years. It was perfect, except one detail. You needed to be utterly and truly insane. I had to drive you off the deep end. It had to be so bad that no one would question it. I had to make you paranoid beyond belief, so that they would actually go all the way with the experimental shock therapy coma thing. It was the only way. You have to believe me. That's why you went so insane. It keeps me up at night thinking about how horrible it was for both of us. But the hope that you'd wake up from the coma all better, that you'd get out of here and save me from all this. That's how I got through it. You said when we got out that we'd get married. So now don't you get it? You have to be sane. You have to act sane so that you can get out of here. They have to think it was all in your head, so that we can both get out of here and live our life together. I thought after everything, you would remember how much you love me. Now I'm not so sure you even still do. So I want to start again. I want you to go on a date with me. Tomorrow, I'll make an opening. Come and meet me in the tuberculosis wing. I'll have an orderly accompany you to avoid suspicion. It'll take a lot of bribing, but come on this date with me tomorrow. I'll show you again why we fell in love the last time. Oh, but stop taking that blue pill. I'm serious. I'm back. Have you two been behaving? Yes. Thank you, Nurse Briar. He was just telling me about the terrible night terrors he's been having. I was assuring him that it is truly all in his head. You've done a lovely job helping him, Nurse Briar. I'm so thankful you've been taking especially good care of him. I just hope you're keeping it strictly professional. I wouldn't want his recovery to be messed up due to personal feelings. Oh, of course not. That's good. I hope you get out soon. Oh, actually, since this conversation went so well, we will be going out for a day tomorrow to the town as a reward for his recovery. Is that so? Well, I sure hope the weather's nice. Yes, well, are you ready to go, Catherine? Yes. Please take me back to my cell. Hey, I hope you make the right choice. Whoever you decide, it's going to change the future. I hope you remember that. Goodbye then. Goodbye, Catherine. Now why would she say that? You two must have had a rather deep conversation. Unfortunately, I missed most of it. Next time I'll be sure to bring a jug of water beforehand. It almost feels like you were trying to get rid of me. Anywho, I hope you got all your emotions out. You heard it right here from the real, and might I add, a rather rude Catherine. She's over your past relationship. She doesn't visit you at night. It's all over now, okay? Now you can look to the future. Leave her and this place behind and start anew. Oh, I can't wait for tomorrow. Well then, let's get you back to your room. I'm so proud of you. Hello. How are you doing this fine morning, dear? Oh, it's nice to see that you're already dressed and looking smart. My, you certainly clean up nicely, don't you? Oh, don't you just look absolutely scrumptious? Ah, yes. I'm afraid since I'm still technically working that I must continue to wear my nursing uniform. Not that I have any casual things to wear anyway. Oh, well, I do have my church wear and funeral clothes, but, well, I'm not sure either is appropriate for this occasion. Oh, don't be silly. I rarely go out. There is little reason to waste my money on trendy clothing. In fact, this uniform is quite comfortable. Here you are, sweetie. I brought you your medicine. The blue one? Oh, well, I talked to the chemist and he didn't think it would be necessary today. We are trying to get you to be as independent as possible, you see. Make your own choices and move forward in life. You've been making such terrific advances. You did so splendidly yesterday when faced with so much stress and disturbance. Catherine is really quite the character. I'm not sure that I should say, but I never could manage her. I guess even nurses have their preferences when it comes to patients. I'm so very happy you managed to stay level-headed instead of all of her chaos. And because you did so well, we must celebrate. That's right, our picnic. I'm going to give you a little rundown of what will happen today so that there's no big surprises later. So, we shall leave in a moment and we'll walk down to the town. It's not very far, only a 10-minute walk down the hill and through a small part of the forest. It's actually a very nice walk, if I may say so. It's very quiet. Anywho, we will then go to the local grocer's, and from the allowance that the asylum has given me, we shall buy ourselves something to eat at our picnic. Don't worry, I've already packed a blanket and some plates and cutlery. I wanted to shop with you so that you could pick out all the things that you like. Well, then we can find a nice quiet spot and spend the afternoon lounging. Then I suppose we'll wander back up here for the evening. Doesn't that sound like fun? I'm glad you think so. So, are you ready? Oh, hello, Michael. What can I do for you? Oh, well, I'm not sure that that's correct, Michael. Let me check the chart. I've never seen this before. It looks like you've been double booked. I wonder how this happened. Did you know about this meeting you're supposed to have with Dr. Brown about a new therapy method today? I haven't heard anything about it. How odd. As your head nurse, I assumed I would have been alerted to any possible new treatment plans. I must have a talk with Dr. Bolton to see why I was not informed. Well, you are still scheduled for leave. I suppose it's up to you then if you'd rather meet with Dr. Brown or go on our outing. I'm sure Mr. Brown can reschedule. Jolly good then. Michael, will you tell Dr. Brown that if he wishes to have a meeting with my patient, then he's going to need to go through me first, okay? Excellent. Thank you for all your hard work, Michael. Well then, shall we be off? We wouldn't want any more distractions to pop up and waste our special date together, huh? Okay then, this way. I hope you've been comfortable here. I know it's not the most welcoming of places, but I hope it wasn't all bad. You're nearing the end of your time here. I've really seen such great improvements in you. You're so much better than you were when you first came here. Honestly, it was like you were just getting worse and worse for a while there. But now, since you've trusted in the doctoral staff of this institution, you're getting better by the day. So, well, as practice, as soon as we step out of here, I want you to leave all your demons and past here behind you. Let's go out today like new people, okay? It's just you and me, two normal people, on a normal date, on a beautiful autumn day. Do you think we could do that? Excellent. Here we go then. What a gentleman. How polite to hold the door open for a lady. Thank you. Let's see. If we just follow this path, then it should lead down to the town. Don't worry, I did all the paperwork beforehand. That's why it's so odd that Dr. Brown wanted to meet so suddenly. I will have to look into this further. Doctors, am I right? You know, sometimes I think that nurses are better qualified than doctors. Sure, we don't know all the fancy names of stuff, but there's no one better at taking care of you. Especially an ex-army nurse. We're the best. Oh yes, I served. What a question. Very well, I'll tell you how I came to be a nurse at a place such as this. After what happened with Benjamin, my brother, I was completely lost. I had no one in the whole world and nothing at all to live for. For a year I just wandered around our old house like a ghost. There wasn't much of value there, but I cooked and I cleaned like I used to. It's all I had known my whole life. I suffered severely from a lack of purpose. Benjamin had told me that the man he worked with had told him that a war was brewing, which turned out to be true. I figured I'd wait until then and fight for king and country, as they say. I suppose at the time I just saw it as a justifiable and honourable way to join my beloved family. Stupid thinking back on it now, but then I was practically a child. Well, when the war finally did come, I marched down to the town's enlistment office and I told them to make me a soldier and put me on the front lines. As you can imagine, I was laughed out of the place. Women couldn't be soldiers, I was told. Don't, please hold your chuckles. I didn't have any friends then. In fact, I hardly went out at all. Most of what I knew from my brother. I suppose it just seemed logical to me at the time that they would want all the able bodies they could get. I suppose now it makes more sense to me why I couldn't. Well, I I went back day after day begging them to take me, and then one day an officer suggested if I wanted to get my hands dirty so badly, then I could apply to be an overseas nurse. And well, that was good enough for me. I agreed and I started training at Gotlock. Back then they were doing a nursing training course free of charge to help with the war effort. Then, when I was fully qualified, I sold my family's house and I went to heal all those I could. I don't expect you to understand my confusing feelings, but for me, the war was what I needed. It sounds stupidly insensitive, but all the noise and crying on the outside, it matched how I felt inwardly. The constant distraction, the constant tending and helping others, the slow and gradual numbness I felt towards death. I know it's not exactly the healthiest way to mourn, but it helped me focus on the moment. I pushed all the horror down and I helped people, and that's what kept me alive in the end. I'm sorry for telling such a sad story on our day out, but you should know by now, asking anybody about their past nowadays is bound to bring up some uncomfortable topics. Well, anyway, back to the topic at hand. When the war ended, and I took what felt like my first breath in years, I realized that instead of being happy, like all those around me, I felt a horrendous sense of horror. How could one go back to a normal life after all that? All the death and the war and darkness. How could I ever be a mother, a teacher, a wife? How could I ever be a normal person again? It was impossible. The war had ended, but my heart was still in the trenches. I was shipped back home and I had no place to live. In fact, they tore my old house down. There was nothing left. So I took up a position at Gotlock. Since then, I suppose I've just been trying to heal people in order to heal myself. As I've said many times before, half the nurses and doctors in there are as messed up as the patients. The only difference is they can afford to be insane. Oh, I'm sorry, that came off terribly rude. I don't mean that. I just wish everyone had equal opportunities to get help, not only the rich. Your family has been terribly generous with their donations. Yes, you're right. They do just want what's best for you. It's a shame they haven't taken a bigger role in your recovery, however. You really shouldn't be so harsh. We all have our own wounds to lick. I'm glad we're talking about this. It's good to have someone to talk to. It's surprising how much better one feels when they get their emotions off their chest. Oh, we have arrived. Just in here, dear. Good morning, Mrs. Doherty. How do you do?
You again.
This way. I've told you, haven't I? I'm a bit of a minor celebrity around here. What do you think? Tiger loaf or baguette? Good decision. Smoked cheese or brie? Oh, delicious. I do love cheese. Is it okay if we get some smoked meat as well? Ah, excellent. I love strawberries. Now we can't forget about something to drink. What cordial shall we get? Excellent choice. Oh, and what the heck. I know it's not in our budget, but how about some chocolate? My treat. Well then, shall we pay? Hello, Mrs. Doherty. These items, please.
Who's this with you today, Nurse Cryer?
Oh, please don't call me that. We're on a date.
Is that right? You do ken what her brother did, didn't you? Slaughtered the bunch of our bairns and the poor mom.
Thank you, Mrs. Doherty.
Careful, lad. Don't leave her alone with any axes.
Oh, I'm so terribly sorry about that. Mrs. Doherty really is an alright lady. She's just old. I gave up fighting it a long time ago, I'm afraid. It's better not to fight back sometimes. Someone ought to be punished for my brother's actions. Right. It shouldn't be me. Well, why don't we sit down on this hillside under this tree? We'll be able to look down on the rest of the village from here. I like to come up here and sit here if I have a spare time after visiting the graveyard. Here, help yourself to food. It's very locally sourced and it should be fresh. How delicious. What a treat. It's been a long time since I've had chocolate. It's very tasty. Here, have a bit. Oh, you got it on the side of your mouth. Here. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have touched your mouth like that. Oh, I'm all flustered. I do apologize. I can be a bit of an airhead sometimes. You're right. This is a date after all. Perhaps I could hold your hand? Don't worry. No one's watching us or will see us here. That feels nice. Your hands are surprisingly warm and soft. It's very comfortable. I'm so full. I'm glad we were able to do this today. I've wanted to spend time with you like this for a long time. I feel so normal. Like a normal human girl. Thank you. Thank you for giving me that. I feel like I'm in a dream, that I'm just going to wake up any second now. You know, if you got better, our life could always be like this. Just sitting and conversing every evening with good food and a smile. It's been a while since my heart has felt this light. I think it's because I told you about how I came to be a nurse. The truth, it brought us closer. So maybe, I don't know if you're ready, but I want you to know the whole truth. We still have some time before we must return to Godlock. I was wondering if perhaps you would like to meet my family. Oh, no, not in that way. I meant we could visit their graves together. I'm sorry if I scared you. If you think it would be too morbid, we don't have to. But
I've never thought of going to graveyards as a depressing thing, more like an opportunity to spend time with those you loved and to be closer to God. I understand if you don't feel that way or would rather stay here though. Really? That's excellent. It's not very far away. Follow me. This town isn't the biggest, so it makes sense that neither is the graveyard. My family are all buried together in a plot, side by side. They all died at the same time, so it was easy to get them together. Here we are. Oh yes, I should really clear away all the older carnations. I bring so many that it can get a bit crowded. You're sweet. I guess it is a bit pretty. I hope they like it up there. Oh, well yes, their surname isn't Briar. It's a bit silly, but, well, I just thought if I could just create a whole new version of myself, I could just run away from all this. That if I go by a different name, eventually people will stop seeing me as purely as what my family did. I suppose it didn't work too well in the end. Oh, well, this way. That's right. Benjamin wasn't buried with them. He's over here. Indeed. I'm afraid the townspeople can be quite cruel. His headstone was destroyed, so now there's just this wooden cross. I'm saving up for a new one, but truly, I don't know if there's much point. I'm sorry, Benjamin. Oh, it's okay. If it's alright, I want to tell you more about him. It'll make more sense to you once I tell you. I think that maybe you'll understand me a bit better if I tell you. If it's too much, please tell me to stop at any point. This story actually, it may have some information that affects you. Well, before the war, Benjamin and Catherine were actually acquainted. I knew you'd be surprised. Please allow me to explain. Benjamin often took any job he could that would allow him to spend as little time with my family as possible. Though it pained me, he knew it was the best way to make good money and keep his sanity. He would take ship work, often not long haul, just to France and back. He worked shoveling coal in the engine rooms, doing odd jobs, that sort of thing. Whatever he could to earn money and spend a day away. One such trip, he met a strange French girl, Catherine. A rich little annoying girl, as he put it. She would order him around and ask him many questions about Great Britain. Benjamin said he told her what she wanted to know, and on the night that the ship was supposed to return, Catherine had snuck aboard. He told me upon returning that he knew off the bat that the girl was crazy, due to her being bored in her rich mansion, or generally having a chemical imbalance in her head. He said that he found her hiding among the food barrels. Well, since he was the one to find her, he was the one who had to bring her back. He picked her up, screaming and kicking, and delivered her back home. He was granted a rather pitiful reward for all that trouble. But Benjamin didn't seem to mind. He was just glad that Catherine was brought back safely. He was so patient. Anyway, it so happens that the ship left without Benjamin, and thus he was stuck there until the next day when another cargo ship would come and take him back. Since it was Catherine's fault that this had happened, her family allowed Benjamin to sleep among the servants and was invited to dine with them. He told me later that they only served gross French food that he didn't like much at all. Oh, that was Benjamin. Country through and through. I guess where his misfortunes began was when Catherine's parents asked him about Britain. Benjamin, talkative as ever, told them all about our humble town. About Gotlock. About how it was so out of the way that even Germans would have had a hard time finding it. Of course it was just in jest, but it appears Catherine's family had been kept rather in the dark about the war stirring. I suppose they were not the type of people to worry about politics, only about image and status. Well, one thing led to another, and before long, Catherine was shipped off to Gotlock. For one reason or another. That's as much as I know regarding her family. However, oh goodness, I feel like I'm rambling. I'm sorry the story is taking so long, but I promise you, this is important. I didn't know about this part until after the war. After what Benjamin did. Once in Gotlock, Catherine was given a lot of freedom. At first it was assumed that she was just a spoiled little girl with behavioural issues sent to Gotlock for protection. She was allowed to come and go from Gotlock as she pleased. Needless to say, things were quite a bit more lax back then. Well, as you could assume, she went looking and found Benjamin. If only Benjamin could have come to me about his disturbing thoughts instead of Catherine. If only he would have talked to me instead of that crazy bitch, I would have... I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay calm, but this still upsets me to this day. I don't know what they talked about, but I know when he started talking to Catherine, he stopped talking to me, and then, well, you know what he ended up doing. No, I understand that you didn't know. Most don't. After the war, I was so angry and sad and hurt. I wanted to make sure that Catherine would never hurt anyone again, that she could never fill anyone's head with horrors and manipulate them. That's why, when I found out after the war that Catherine was there at Gotlock, I wanted to work there to keep an eye on her, to make sure... Well, anyway, I failed. She hurt you. I was so angry, but I knew the only way forward was to help you get better and to have a normal life, and I just... being here with you today, seeing you smile and laugh freely out here, I know that even after all that pain and all the horrors of the past, after everything I've been through, it was all worth it to survive and keep fighting to help people. It was all worth it for you. I'm sorry. I got a bit emotional. That must be quite a lot of information for you to take on. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you sooner that I had ulterior motives. But does it really matter now? After the fact, when all is well and the storm has died, let's just try to be happy, okay? Oh goodness, would you look at the time? We really must head back. Come along then. By the way, I wanted to thank you for, trusting me and believing me. I've had a hard life, but since getting to be with you, it feels like I'm finally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like I'm thawing after years of being frozen. So thank you. Sincerely. From one broken person to another. Before we go back to Cutlock, I was wondering if maybe before we go back to being patient and nurse, before we have to go back to being who we were, before the spell is broken and the clock hits midnight, would you end this lovely date with a kiss? Okay, I'm ready when you are. Oh, wow, that felt really nice. Thank you. I'm glad my first kiss, my first proper kiss, could be with someone I really like. I better get back to work now. Be sure to check yourself back in at the desk, okay? I'll see you tomorrow. I was thinking maybe we could start a jigsaw puzzle together. Well, okay. Goodbye for now. Hey, it's me. Oh, no need to get up. I'm sorry if I'm disturbing you, but, well, we really should talk. Do you mind if I just sit at the end of the bed this time? So, I guess you've made your choice, huh? Don't worry, I'm not gonna guilt trip you. That wouldn't achieve anything. You've chosen Ivy and, well, that's that. There's no changing your mind now. To think, I actually thought you'd choose me. How could I have been so stupid? You never exactly believed me through any of this. Then again, I can't blame you. You're sick. That's clear. You've been drugged and manipulated, and I'm so sorry for everything. Because it turns out that in the end, I suppose we were just always in the exact same position. Sick, drugged, and manipulated. The only difference is, well, you have a way out. Don't worry. Look, If there's one last thing I can do for you, you know I'd do it. Even if that means letting you go. I don't want to hurt you anymore. All of this whole wretched place, it's all going to be over soon, so just don't worry, okay? I'm going to lay off. I won't force you to do anything you don't want to. Now, that being said, when I was stood up on our date in the old abandoned East Wing, I did some looking around and I found something you might like to know about. What? Why would I ever lie to you about a dumb Nurse Briar of all things? That sneaky She told you more about Benjamin, didn't she? Ugh. I didn't think she would have told you so soon. She must have smelled blood in the water. You know, I respect her in that regard. She really isn't as dumb as she looks. What did she tell you, huh? I drove her brother insane. I ruined her life, but that she still wants to help people. You've got it all wrong. Please. Just tell me exactly what she said, okay? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Damn it, that... Well, I think it's only fair you hear my perspective. When Benjamin came to France, it was true that we met and he took me back from the ship, but when he got there, he didn't just mention subtly about Garlock. He sold it to my parents. How amazing it is, how safe it was, how beautiful the countryside is. My parents were so sold in the idea that I was shipped there soon after. They were so desperate to get rid of me that they didn't see that Benjamin was clearly just trying to drum up some good business for this stupid, dilapidated place. I couldn't entirely blame him. The more money coming into the town, the more job opportunities, the faster he can get away from that god-awful family of his. He was a nice guy, really. Me? I did no such thing. Not intentionally. Look, you have to understand. I was sick. I was a sick, messed up kid who hated my parents, and so was he. Teenagers, they say things that they don't mean. When someone says they just want to kill their family, who takes that seriously? All the things I said, and the things we talked about, to me, it was just a messed up fantasy I came up with to cope with being abandoned in a country I didn't know. But to him it was all real. You have to understand, I never thought he would actually kill his whole family. And then, when he did, I felt so awful. I hated myself so much. I went pretty much crazy then. I was locked up and sedated heavily for a really long time. It took me a long time to just remember all of these memories of what really happened. My parents, they did what they do best, and they swept it all under the rug. Well, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I hid from it. I pushed it all down, and I ignored it, and I told myself I wasn't to blame. How could I have known? I was I was just letting my emotions out with a friend, and, well... Look, you have to see that this is all in the past. It was a horrible, horrible accident that should have never happened, but... You see, I wanted to just forget about it, because I really did think he killed all of his family. Look, I have something I really need to tell you. Now that I remember everything clearly and put everything together straight in my head, I didn't know Benjamin's sister was still alive. I didn't know for a long time, and when Ivy started working here, I had no clue who she was. She was just an old nurse that I'd ignore, but over time, I realised my life started to get worse and worse since she had joined. Just shush, listen, okay? I'd hear rumours about having a messed up family life, but I honestly didn't care about her past at the time. I was too busy with you. Too busy talking about the plan. Well, you know, you went crazy and stab, blab, whatever. And when you woke up, it was great and the plan was working, and then who ends up being your new nurse? No, just listen. I know how this sounds, but you have to listen. After the first night, I went and I did some digging on Nurse Ivy Pryor, and that's when I found out who she is, what her real name was. So of course, I freak out, right? I thought she was dead, and now here she is magically, throwing a big old spanner in the works of our plan. Look, I thought for a while, hey, maybe she doesn't know about me. Maybe she just came home from the war and was desperate enough for a job that she started working here. I needed a way to find out the truth, the real truth, from her own lips. That's where you came in, you see? You asked about the carnations, and it seemed at the time that she knew nothing and was stupid and I had nothing to worry about. But then when you didn't show up yesterday, I just knew. And so I went through file after file and I found it, the final puzzle piece. The minutes from a meeting Nurse Ivy Pryor had with Dr. Bolton concerning your electroshock therapy. In it, she's trying to convince him that you must have the shock therapy as quickly as possible, that you need it urgently, and it turns out that despite how hard I was trying to drive you crazy, none of that even really mattered. What they needed was for you to have a mental break and become violent towards another patient. Baby, don't you see? Don't you get it? It was never our plan. It was never your idea. It was Ivy. It's been her plan all along. No, listen, I'm not crazy. You have to believe me. You have to... Ugh, shit. Already? Ugh. She came here to torture me. She came here to ruin my life and to steal you away from me. My single last chance at escaping this nightmare. Please, baby, you have to understand. It's the asylum security alarm. There's been a break. Yes, of course I did this. Look, there isn't much time, but you have to trust me. This was the only way. I could never know if you'd actually come back for me, that you'd actually save me. You chose Ivy, and that forced me to do this. Now is my only chance to escape. Our only chance to escape together. If we stay here any longer, then Ivy will have you forever. Our only chance to get out of this together is if we leave now. We could run away and be together forever in secret. You just have to. Darling, Are you alright? I heard the alarm and I wanted to... Catherine?
Ivy.
So, you've been coming here at night, you weaselly Don't you know that you're ruining his chances at happiness?
Me? You're the one lying to him and encouraging him to push down his issues instead of dealing with them. Just admit it. Stop that stupid goody two-shoes act and admit it. Everything, just admit you came here to torture me, to steal the only love I've ever known in this life away from me. Admit it.
You're crazy. You're goddamn crazy. Get away from him right now and go back to your cell before you get another fucking eye stabbed out.
Baby, listen, we don't have much time. I'm leaving this goddamn hellhole with or without you. Let's go. Let's go together. My family has money. They would give me money to stay low. We'd be well off. We are the only ones who truly understand each other. This whole time, Ivy's just been lying to you. I need you to...
Not one more word. This is absolute insanity. If you go with her, then I am forced to assume that you have no more interest in getting better, and I shan't chase after you. Stay. Stay here with me. We will work through your troubles the proper way, and then, when you're actually better, we can leave here together and not be forced to hide for the rest of our lives. You have to trust me.
Are you awake? Sorry to wake you. I can't really sleep. I can't stop thinking about that night. Yeah, I know you keep saying that we'll talk about it later, but there's just something I have to say, okay? Since you left the asylum with me, and we snuck onto that shipping boat back to my family's home, I never really thanked you. You know, for trusting me. If I'm being completely honest, I was shocked that you'd go with me. Heck, even looking back on it, I think I was being a bit crazy. I'm just glad it all worked out in the end. Well, worked out enough. Look, I just want to know what's going on in your head. I really think we just need to sort all this out and put an end to that part of our lives so that we can move forward, you know? I know what I did wasn't really fair, giving you that ultimatum. I wasn't really in the clearest mindset at the time. You have to understand that when you chose to go on the date with Ivy, yeah, of course I know it was a date. It made me so mad. I was so angry, and well, if I'm being completely honest, I don't even know for sure if she was the one behind our plan or not. Hey, just listen, okay? I know for a fact she must have influenced you in some way, and I know she pushed for you to get the shock therapy. I know my life got a whole lot worse when she came into the picture. Or at least, I think it did. Baby, sorry, I mean, look, I was sick there. As much as I want to deny it, I was really sick, and I was really paranoid. Running away with you, though rash, it ended up saving my life. I finally start to see things clearly now. I'm finally far away enough from Gartlock that I can start to actually heal in a safe environment with you. Here in our little house, I'm finally safe. So, it's been making me think, and what if I am the bad guy in this story? What if Ivy was seriously trying to help you and I got it all wrong and took you away from that place that could have helped you? Was I just that selfish that I had to drag you away with me? Drag you away into a lifetime of hiding? Even with Ivy, of course she wouldn't like me after what happened with her brother. Of course she would hate me. Not to mention now, I've gone and stolen the one person she had left away from her. But to be fair, you're the one person I have left too. I'm sorry for spouting all this out. It's just, it's been weighing on me so heavily that I feel like I might break. Now that the storm's passed and I look back at all the chaos behind us, I just can't help wondering if things could have gone a different way. I've made so many mistakes in my life. I have countless regrets, and with a memory as patchy and unreliable as mine, who knows how many regrets are lurking in the recesses of my mind. But even if it's selfish, I don't regret you coming with me. Honestly, I'm not sure I would have even made it here without you. But even so, I guess my biggest concern is, do you regret it? Your choice? Where we've ended up? We're going to be comfortable for the rest of our lives here. I won't ever have to worry about money, or the weather in France is beautiful and the food is delicious and we can spend all day in each other's company. But even so, I'm a wanted criminal now, and you're my accomplice. I know you know this, but we've never really talked about the consequences. If we get caught, we'll probably be sent to 2 different criminal asylums. We're free now, but at the same time we're not. It's all so complicated. Why did life have to be this hard? I wish we could have met normally. I wish we weren't so screwed up in the head, and I wish you still loved me the way you did before your memory was wiped. I know, you're trying, but there still feels like there's this gap between us. I know you so well, and it's like you're only just beginning to fall in love with me again. And I can't.
can't forget about Ivy. You've been thinking about her, haven't you? Yeah, I knew it. Well, she's been thinking about you too. It's taking every ounce of maturity in me to give this to you. Well, you trusted me, so I'm trusting you. She sent a letter. Well, she found the address of my parents' house and sent it here addressed to you. That's what the maid at the main house told me when she snuck out to give me the letter. I haven't read it. I want to respect your privacy, but... well... maybe I'll help you to... well, get over her. It's been hard for me, you know. Dealing with the fact that my boyfriend fell in love with someone else right in front of me and I couldn't do anything about it. You've no idea how much it tormented me. I'm not blaming you, of course. You were sick too, but... well... yeah... I guess you know my feelings, so... it's probably only fair if I give you the opportunity to know hers as well. Here. Hello. I don't know if you'll ever get to read this letter, as I haven't a clue as to where you have gone, but I figured that this would be a safe bet. I doubt Catherine will let you read this, but even so, even if I'm sending this letter out into the void, at least it may give me some closure. That night, everything happened so fast. I would be lying if I said I wasn't completely in shock from the moment I opened your door until even now writing this letter weeks later. I don't understand why you would do this. I don't know what Catherine told you before I entered, but it must have been pretty damn convincing for you to leave with her. It took every ounce of strength in me I had to not chase after you as you left with her. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't heartbroken. After our date earlier that day, I really thought that we might have had something special. That you were actually getting better and that maybe we could have... well, that was just a ridiculous one-sided fantasy, I suppose. If you do end up reading this, I want you to know I'm not angry at you. I know you're a sick man, and that Catherine is a sick girl, and in an odd way, I am too. I've been running that final conversation that we had in your room over and over again in my head. Catherine thought that I was a cuddle to torture her. I didn't realize it before, but maybe it had some truth to it. I never intentionally sought out to torment her, but perhaps subconsciously I did pray for her downfall. Deep down, a dark, cracked part of me wanted you to choose me so that she would know what it feels like to have someone you love so dearly ripped away. Maybe she was right all along, and I was just too messed up to look myself straight in the mirror. In the end, dear, there was never one person telling the real truth. The world is not black or white. It's an awful, dull, smudged grey. But I'm going to change that. I've applied for a teaching job in a remote small town up north. They seem rather desperate, so who knows? Maybe I'm in for a chance to start again there. I'll still visit my family sometimes, so if you ever end up reading this, I'll check the local post for my old name. I hope you're happy with the choice you made. In a way, I'm happy I can leave all this behind me now. I have no more ties here. Perhaps I'll see you in another life. Until then, I'll leave your carnation. Goodbye. Love, Ivy Briar. Well, what did it say? Well, that is interesting. I don't even know myself if she's lying. She very well could be. Or maybe not. Maybe the world is messed up and we just did our best to come out of it on top. Even if all this is true, I really do think you made the right choice to come with me. Things may be heated for a while, but we have each other. And we can help each other without people shoving pills down our throats or pushing our emotions down. I love you. And I have for years, and I will to the end of our lives. Who knows what this world has in store for us, but I know it's going to be a whole lot of fun with us two troublemakers taking it on. I'm your crutch, and you're mine. We're equal. So let's both do our best to do the best we can, okay? Yeah, you're right. Okay, I feel better now. Thanks for talking to me about this. I know we have a long road of recovery ahead of us, but together, I know we'll make it through. I know, right? It's nice to cuddle and not worry about orderlies coming in. Good night, my love. And thank you. Thank you for trusting me. Honey, rise and shine, pumpkin. We're almost at our stop. Oh, I know. I'm comfy too. It's surprisingly cozy on this train carriage. I'd much rather stay in here than go out in the notorious British weather too. But alas, our journey has come to an end. Yeah, I know you're not a fan of traveling, especially when we have to be so sneaky about it. But we have to do this. You know that, don't you, sweetie? Yes, for the 100th time, I'm okay with it. We've discussed this matter to death. I trust you, okay? And yes, of course I'm not thrilled you're meeting up with Ivy, but I'm not worried you're going to abandon me either. Over the past few years since, well, you know, we've really gotten to know each other so intimately. We refound our love all over again, and now we're finally starting to be fully healed and happy, for the most part. The last thing that we need is closure. And that's why you're going to go and you're going to talk to Ivy, and I'm going to go and talk to my brother. Then Ivy and I can have a little chat, and, well, hopefully all will go well. I know, the risks are massive. You don't think that I've thought of that? Of course there's a risk that Ivy could turn us in, have us thrown away in a mental institution again, but like, just trust me. If that was going to happen, I've made preparations. Like, I'm sure it will all be fine. We're almost there now anyway, so we can't turn back. We have to finish this, once and for all. Otherwise I think it's going to haunt us for the rest of our new happy life together. Or stop. Come on then. You did pack an umbrella, didn't you? Good. Here. Well, do you remember where you're going? Yeah, the cafe on the main street. I'm going to go meet my brother at a location he's given me. Then I'll meet you and Ivy at the cafe once I'm done. Remember, keep your head down and don't tell anyone our old names. It wouldn't surprise me if when we ran away our faces and names were plastered all over this place. Locals might remember your super handsome face. I know. The mustache does make you look a bit different, but I don't know if it's exactly enough. Okay then, let's do this. Remember, I love you, darling. We can do this. I'll see you soon. Oh, it's you. Wow, you really came. Good day to you. Please, have a seat. I took the liberty of ordering us a pot of tea and some sandwiches, so please help yourself. My, you look... You have a mustache. Indeed, I almost didn't recognize you myself. You look like you've grown a lot in these past few years. I'm happy. I'm happy you appear to be doing well. Will you tell me how you've been? It's been so long since we last conversed. I thought that we never get a chance to speak again. I can't tell you how surprised I was to get a letter all these years later. I'd almost given up on checking the post office for my old name, when, lo and behold, I had a letter. For years, you had the letter I sent, and you never even sent one back to me to let me know that you were okay. I can't tell you how many nights I'd stay awake with worry. Did Catherine convince you not to send a letter back? No. I'm surprised to hear that she encouraged it. If it wasn't her who stopped you from writing back, then why? Oh dear. Well, that does sound like something you do. For the record, I didn't forget about you. Nor did I move on completely. That's why I agreed to meet you. So, well, do go on. What have you been doing all this time? Are you still with Catherine? Oh. And you're still in love? Do forgive me, but I must admit I'm a bit disappointed. I see, so you live on one of the houses on Catherine's family's estate. Well, I don't blame you for hiding away. It sounds positively lovely there. And you're doing better mentally? That's a relief. Me? Oh, well, I'd say I'm about the same as always, health-wise. Yes, that's right. I did move up north. I got a teaching job. Yes, it's truly been lovely. Teaching children, it really is my calling, I think. When I first arrived there, everybody was so welcoming. It seems that they didn't know anything about my past. Or maybe they did and chose not to mention it because they were so desperate for staff. Oh, I rent a tiny apartment there. It's not much, but, well, it's my own. Yes, I do get lonely. Dreadfully so, but I just focus hard on my work and the lonely feeling goes away a bit. No, I haven't met anyone. I think you might have taken a piece of my heart with you all the way to France. Well, I might as well just come out and ask it. Enough beating around the bush. Why? Why would you leave me there like that? I thought you wanted to be with me. Were you just leading me on when we went out on that date? When you kissed me and told me that we would spend time together the next day? When you said that you could see a future between us? Was it all just a trick? A part of Catherine's plan to lower my guard and steal you away? Sorry. It's just that I thought you trusted me. I I really thought we had something special. Well, you read my letter, didn't you? I know I might have been a bit harsh on Catherine in there. Without even realizing it, I'd be mean and manipulate. Heck, before you lost your memories, I even tried to convince you to leave her and be with me. Not to mention all the things with my brother. I know I wasn't exactly a good person in there. But I've done a lot of self-healing these years, thinking about my mistakes I made, criticizing and fixing my flaws so as to be a good, healthy person capable of teaching others kindness. Who knows? Maybe there is a dark spell cast over Gotlock that was driving us all crazy. Or maybe it's just that insanity breeds insanity. Even so, I want to know why you left with Catherine. I understand. Hey, do you think you made the right choice? Would you have done something differently? I know I certainly would have. But I guess when you reach the end of a story, there's no point in looking back and questioning what if. I suppose all there is now is to look towards the future. You know, you and I, we could run a... Catherine. Ivy. Please sit down. Sorry, we were just getting everything out on the table. That being said, I believe I owe you an apology, Catherine. And I you, Ivy. I'm not happy the way things ended. Neither am I. I treated you so very poorly in that place, in which I should have been trying to help you. Ivy, I know it might sound stupid, but I need to hear you say it. Were you trying to ruin my life? Was it because what happened with Benjamin? You need to know I didn't mean for... Catherine, it's all right. I know I treated you poorly in the past, and yes, perhaps that had something to do with the trauma and unresolved issues I have, but I can swear to you that I had no such great plan that you claimed I had. Unfortunately, well, the truth is a lot sadder. I was just a sad, hurt, alone girl looking for someone to blame. And sadly, you were also a sad, hurt, alone girl with serious mental issues. In the end, I suppose we're just two faces of the same coin. Thank you. I needed to hear that. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry this is how everything happened. In another life, I could have seen us being friends. And are you well? Are you still a nurse at Gartlock? No, I've moved on. I started my life anew, much like the both of you did. I know there's no changing the past, but I think we can hopefully now at least accept it. I hope if you both ever visit the country again, you'll come and visit me. And if you're open to it, perhaps we could continue to send letters. It would truly make me very happy if, given time, we could be friends. Well, that isn't up to me. What do you think, dear? Very well then. I'll write down our address and new names. Here. That's lovely. I'll be sure to send you a letter. I'm afraid now I have to go if I wish to return home before dark. It was really nice to have this opportunity to say goodbye properly this time. I do hope we meet again. Goodbye. Goodbye, Ivy. Well, what do you think? Did it all go well before I got here? Yeah, I had a similar experience visiting my brother. Yeah, he's well. Just a bit upset and worried, I suppose. Ivy didn't say anything weird, did she? Something in me knew she would try to ask you to run away with her. What did she say? Oh, and that's when I came in? Well, what would you have said if I didn't? Oh, come on, I'm just joking. I love you, sweetie. More than anything in the world, and I know we'll be together always. Heck, not even forgetting memories can keep us apart. Maybe we're just soulmates. Oh, come on now, don't get all soppy on me. I know it's been an emotional day. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. Let's go to the inn and snuggle up and get a good night's rest. It feels like we haven't stood still in one place for months. All I want to do right now is be under 1,000,000 blankets and cuddle up with the person I love and trust most in the world. Of course it's you, silly. Now come on, let's go.